Good morning, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Frie. Hump Day! You know what day it is, baby. You got the Bat Cave, you got yourself a little bit of hump day. Almost Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the year, Thanksgiving. What's better than 3 F's? Family, food, and football. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Makes you feel all warm and cozy inside. You get that little nap in there inside. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. It's special. Holds a special place in my heart, Thanksgiving. There we go. Number 1 in my heart, Eileen. Hump Day! Guess what day it is? Hump Day, baby. All righty. All right, so let's kick the old Bat Cave off here with a little bit of New York Mets talk, because that's what we're here for, I guess. Not just to yell, Hump Day! All the time, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So it's a couple of notes to go over. I wasn't on last week. Not a whole lot going on the offseason right now, but a couple, there were a couple goings on since I've been on. That's perfect. If I'm frozen with my head down, that's just perfect. So the signal right now is really crappy. It looks like, I don't know why. I mean, it is a little bit overcast, but hopefully it unsticks soon, because that's awkward if I'm like this the whole time. Am I still stuck? I don't know. I can't tell. I wonder if I can look on the old Facebook here. I might have to shut her down and restart her up. Oh yeah, look at me. I'm there. Head stuck down like that. I don't know. Is there any? I don't even know if I can. Oh yeah, there we go. You're still getting the voice there. Just it's the old head stuck down. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I can. Yeah, let me see what kind of. It's my signal. I got medium signal, strong signal now. I don't know what the hell. It is a little bit over. Kicks back on. It's not looking promising. I might have to start her all over. Oh, no, hang on a second. I'm moving. I can see it now. I'm moving. Hey, everybody. I'm going to do the hump day thing all over again now. Hump day, because I got to do the whole hand thing. Hey, welcome to the Bat Cave. It's a shit show, but we're here, right? Oh, Lord. Hey, you know what? I had Eileen. It's just me and you right now. It says there's 2 people watching, but I think that was the other one. But anyway, I think I had a bad feeling. I could see up in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, it was showing the little signal gimmick, saying it was low signal, but I'm looking at the signal gimmick on my laptop here, and it's saying strong signal. They got to get on the same freaking page. That's all I got to say. They got to get on the same page. And so let's start that all over. Let's drop back and punt on that one. So, all right. Welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry. And you're not looking at my top of my head anymore. So last time I was on, since from then to now, not a whole lot has gone on. So we'll cover what did go on, just a couple roster moves here or there. Pretty soon, I think it's going to start heating up. You have the winter meetings and stuff like that, and you have the old hot stove and stuff like the rumors just going everywhere. So you don't know what's fact, what's fiction, what's an actual rumor, or what's just wishful thinking. So I usually don't get too much into it, because it makes you look like an idiot. They're like, oh, I heard so-and-so's coming here, and he ends up signing, 15 minutes later with, the stupid ass, Giants or somebody. I don't know, somebody like that. So, but one of the things that has happened, the Rule 5 protection period where you can protect one of your well, anybody. I don't know how many spots you get to protect. I don't know. I think it's I don't know. You get a few, like 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's not Rule 5 draft is not really clear, to me as why it's a thing or not. I kind of understand it, but I don't. It's one thing I never really bothered to try to understand. But now that I do this, I don't want to seem like a moron. But as of right now, you're listening to me talk, I sound like a moron talking about it. But so the Rule 5, the Mets decided to protect one player, and that was one of their prospects. That was Alex Ramirez. He's right now ranked number 11 in the Mets system, number 11 prospect overall. And from a couple podcasts that I've listened to about this, it was a bit of a surprise because he really struggled this past season in high A ball. And so some of the podcasts I listened to did say that they thought maybe the Mets would look to protect somebody else because Ramirez struggled that much in high A ball. There was probably a pretty good chance that no team in the Rule 5 draft would pick him up. So the Rule 5 draft are players that were not protected that I think have been in the minor league system for 5 or 6 years. I don't remember exactly what it is, 5 or 6 years, and didn't make it to the 40-man roster. I think that's what it is. It was according to Wikipedia, which has all the information you really need. It's to prevent teams from stockpiling too much talent in their farm system. So usually, I think the rule is, I was reading up on it earlier. The rule is if it's a players in your system, I don't remember, 5 or 6 years, and they didn't make it to your 40-man roster, well, they become Rule 5 draft eligibles, but you can protect a certain amount of those players. I don't remember the number is, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50. I don't know what it is. It's not going to be 50 because that doesn't make any sense. But so you look at Rule 5 draft, that happens in December, and it happens in reverse order. I think media said reverse order from what the draft would be. So, your best team would pick first and your worst team would pick last. So whatever. But yeah, so the Mets chose to protect Alex Ramirez. A couple other players they could have protected but did not were right-handed pitcher Justin Jarvis, left-handed pitcher Luis Rodriguez, who's the Mets number 21 prospect, utility man Jeremiah Jackson, number 22 overall prospect in the Mets system. They got from the De Leon. Not De Leon. What the hell was his name? It's not De Leon. It's De something or rather. From the Angels, they traded him to the Angels last year. A relief pitcher. I can't think of his name right now. It's something De Leon or I can't remember what it is exactly. So the utility man plays a little bit of outfield, a little bit of infield. A right-handed pitcher, also Coleman Crow, who's the Mets right now rated number 29 overall prospect, who was picked up in the Eduardo Escobar trade from the Angels. He's currently going through Tommy John surgery, rehab and stuff like that. But there was thought that there is a possibility that he could get picked up through the Rule 5 draft as kind of like a low risk kind of thing where, the production before the Tommy John surgery was pretty good. So there's a good chance that afterwards, but it's low risk. It's what do you got to lose in it? So those were the couple of players that they didn't protect that were brought up by a couple of the other podcasts I listened to. A lot of reaction to Jeremiah Jackson not being protected. I guess his numbers, I don't remember if he was in high A with the Mets or not. But with the Angels, his number with the Angels and the Mets, his numbers were a lot better than what Alex Ramirez's numbers were. But things is, the year before in low A, and I think it was, I don't know, it wasn't rookie ball, was it? It was low A, whatever. It doesn't matter. Ramirez had a pretty decent season. Right? He's been a a highly touted prospect for a couple years now. Obviously, if it's a Rule 5 draft, that means he's been around for a little while, not making it to the 40-man roster. So, and I think one of the rules is that he has to be rostered to start the season or something. I don't know. There's a whole lot of rules to the Rule 5 draft. Doesn't make sense to me. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think I get why they have it, because you don't want one team just completely hoarding all sorts of talent and just keeping them in their farm system so nobody else gets them. That sucks ass, especially for those players that are kind of stuck there. So I get it, but a lot of it just doesn't make sense to me. All right, there we go. Yuki Matsui, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Yuki says, "I love you, buddy. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Yuki. Good to see you. Glad to hear from you. Now I'm every other week, so maybe next time I'm on, maybe you'll have a different name. I don't know. We'll see. Yuki Matsui. I like that one. I still miss coffee milk. What bullpen free agents we can stretch out to become cheap starters? I don't know. So that's one of the things when I was listening to the one podcast, they were talking about potential starting pitchers, like maybe a fifth starting pitcher or whatever. And the name Seth Lugo came up. And I really like Seth Lugo. He was one of those guys that was a reliever for the Mets in 2022, did a fantastic job. It's going to keep kicking out. Seth Lugo ended up leaving us in 2023 because he wanted to be a starting pitcher, which I totally get. He went out to San Diego and he did a hell of a job. He did a fairly decent job. That I think it was like 3.47 ERA, 3.5 something ERA, something like that. Did a hell of a job out there in San Diego. He's an outright free agent. I think he declined his player option, or he's an outright free agent. I don't remember exactly what it was. But he's one guy that if I'm the Mets, I'd definitely go after, because he's one guy that is already stretched out to be a starting pitcher. But if something were to happen, you needed some bullpen help, I'm sure he wouldn't be happy about it, but he could always revert back to the bullpen. And but besides that, on roster, I'm not really sure if there is anybody right now. Free agency, I'm not into it enough to really off the top of my head think if there's any free agent relief pitchers that could be stretched out as a starter. Now, David Peterson, with him being hurt, he's going to be out, I think, most of the season, maybe half the season, to most of the season. I'm not sure what the latest projection was for him, but he's one guy that I think would be bullpen. Would be going to the bullpen. I don't think he'd be a starter anymore. I wouldn't start the cocksucker anyway. That's just me. I'd put his ass in the bullpen, or I'd be 100% honest. I wouldn't have, I would have non-tendered him. I wouldn't even brought him back. Tyler McGill's, he's another guy that is probably going to find himself in bullpen spot starts and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. Joey Lucchesi, Jose Budo, we'll see what goes on with those guys as the season moves on, as we get closer to opening day. If they get maybe a number 5 starter spot, one of those two guys, or we'll see what happens. It's kind of murky, kind of cloudy right now. Like I said, as to free agent relievers, I don't really know anybody off the top of my head that could be stretched out into a starter, right now that I'm thinking of anyway. I really wish we would have kept Trevor Williams. That's one guy last season. He and Seth Lugo, why not, stretch out at least and make them a starting. Both those guys left because they wouldn't be a starting pitcher. And, Trevor Williams wasn't as good as what Seth Lugo was in San Diego, but Trevor Williams wasn't half bad in Washington. I really like Trevor Williams as a relief pitcher, long relief in 2022. I was really bummed when he was let go. And like our bullpen right there. I mean, it's just losing Lugo, losing Trevor Williams, 2 huge losses right there. It really makes up, the debauchery that was our bullpen last year. And there he is, brother John. What's up, Johnny? How you doing? Hope is all is well. Happy Thanksgiving, brother. Um, how about those Oakland Athletics? Now the Las Vegas Athletics. Everything was approved by the owners, so it's just a matter of time. Now you're a Las Vegas Athletics fan, John. Adam, hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving, Adam. All right, so that's the Rule 5 stuff that I got. Again, like I understand it, but I don't understand it. There's a whole lot more to the rule than what I talked about. It's just like I said, I never really paid attention to it because I didn't really care about it. It didn't matter to me. I didn't care much about the farm system or anything like that. I just knew, watching the Mets, being a Mets fan. I'm not a fanatic. I'm a fan. I love my team, but I never really dug deep into the team. Now recently, since I've been doing this podcast, I've been doing a little bit more, keep my nose a little bit closer to the ground, I guess, as it were, and just, trying to listen and, learn a little bit more. I like some of these podcasts that I've been listening to, of course, my boy Nelson, Amish Country Mets fan, he and Chris from CPNY Sports, they do a terrific job on Interstate Mets Report. So I watch them a lot, learn a lot from those guys, and a couple other Mets podcasts. Just learning as I'm going. Because some of the stuff just the whole tendered and non-tendered thing, I never even heard of that crap until now. So pay attention to it. So we'll move into that next. The Mets had the option to tender or non-tender a bunch of contracts, and they decided to non-tender 5 of them. And I know as a Mets fan and all the Mets fans out there, we're on the edge of our seats waiting to see who the non-tendered ones were, because we know there's definitely one name on there that had to be non-tendered. And if it wasn't going to be non-tendered, I think there would have been a whole lot of Mets fans flipping their lids. And that was our boy Daniel Vogelback. He was non-tendered. So Vogelback is no longer a Met. He's immediately a free agent. So that's what happens when you're non-tendered. You're becoming immediately a free agent. He was non-tendered. Luis Guillorme, Sam Coonrod, Trevor got his ass out of here, and Jeff Brigham. Now, Vogelback, so you look at last season, as frustrating as it was, his numbers were basically what his career average was. So he was just Daniel Vogelback last year. I just don't understand how a guy like that plays professional baseball. I just don't. It doesn't make to be as big as he is. Like he's a I'm not fat shaming. I'm a fat guy myself, so I can say stuff like that. But to be as big as he is, and like he can't field, he can't run. So whenever he gets on base, you have to have a pinch runner for him, especially in key situations. I know the Mets didn't pinch run for him every time, but a lot of the times, if he got on base, they'd have to pinch run for him. Can't play the field, so he has nothing to give there. And his plate appearances, hitting, I don't know if he had like 220, 230, 14, 15 home runs, could only hit against righties, I believe it was. Couldn't hit against the lefties. Can only hit against righties. So he's a specialty player. It's like how's this guy even a Major League Baseball player? I mean, you can find probably 10 to 15 guys in the minor league system that can do exactly the same thing what that man does. So I'm glad to see him gone. It's just, it just doesn't make sense to me. How he's employed in Major League Baseball. He should be somewhere selling used cars or something. I don't know. It seemed like the guys liked him. He seemed like a decent dude, but not for me. Luis Guillorme, I was kind of bummed to see him being non-tendered. So now he's a free agent. He came up through the Mets system, and a really good glove. It's one of those guys that you use as a replacement. Bat not the greatest. Didn't strike out a whole lot. Just one of those things. He's taking a roster spot that they kind of needed, I guess. You don't see his bat really going anywhere, contributing as what you would like, but just the glove itself, and again, there's a couple guys in the system that could do the same exact thing he does. So it's kind of a bummer though. I like Luis Guillorme. So hopefully he lands somewhere decent. And somebody's going to pick him up, just for his defense alone. Using him as like one of those players, like a 7th, 8th, or 9th inning defensive replacement kind of guys. You don't get a whole lot of plate appearances, but it is what it is. So the players that were tendered, you had Drew Smith, Joey Lucchesi, DJ Stewart, David Peterson I talked about earlier, and of course Pete Alonso. So DJ Stewart, terrific second half of the season. Really, kind of like gave us a little bit of a spark as a fan base. It's something to cling on to a little bit. DJ Stewart, provided a little bit of pop, a little bit of excitement, for the first last season in an otherwise dreary, miserable last season. So they rewarded him somewhat with a 1-year, $1.38 million deal. Now he was due to make, if it went through arbitration, which again, something else I don't understand. I'm not a union guy. I don't know union stuff, but he was due to make through arbitration, actually $1.5 million. But this is 1.38 guaranteed, $1.38 million guaranteed. So he'll get that. He has a kid on the way. So the kid's going to have a nice crib. So, the kid's not going to be sleeping in a box or anything like that now. That's good. That's good for him. David Peterson, like I said, I would have non-tendered, but I guess they're relying on him just having it was a bad season last year because the 2022 he wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible either. So some decent spot starts. He was pretty good in long relief. So I expect him to return to the bullpen and do the same thing. Long relief, spot starts, that kind of stuff. And Tyler McGill, I don't know what's going to happen with him. Do they use him as a long relief or spot starts? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Move one of those guys back down to AAA, have them working through it down there, and then bring them up as needed. That could be an option as well. Got a comment here from Yuki Matsui about Drew Smith. Drew Smith is Teflon. Yeah, he is Teflon. It doesn't make sense, but so that's one of the ones that really surprised me that he was tendered a contract. Besides David Peterson. David Peterson didn't surprise me, but I still would have got rid of his ass. I'm over it. But the Drew Smith one really surprised me. So as much as hate as the Mets fan base had for Daniel Vogelback, Drew Smith was a close second, I think. And it seemed like whenever Drew Smith was out there pitching, there was plenty of games out of the bullpen. It pitched okay, pitched all right, pitched well. But there were so many different times in big spots where he came out there and just got his ass lit up. And so I don't know if they're just banking on him being like an innings eater kind of guy. Like, you're in one of those games where, the starter goes out in the first inning, due to injury or gets ejected for throwing at somebody or whatever. You need somebody to go out there and eat some innings from your bullpen. Is that going to be Drew Smith? Or if, the score is 10-0, you need somebody to go out there and just to save some bullpen arms, throw Drew Smith out there, let him, get knocked around a bit. I don't know. I don't know what the deal with it is. So listening to Locked On Mets podcast, I listen to that a lot. The lad that runs that show was saying that, Drew Smith's fastball is still a pretty good fastball. And the reason he was because his breaking stuff was off. His slider was off. So I guess maybe they're thinking, if they can get a slider back, maybe that's, a recipe for success for Drew Smith. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I don't know. The whole tendered, non-tendered thing, I don't know. Maybe he goes through spring training and they cut his ass or they send him down to AAA. I don't know. I don't know how it all works. And it's It was head scratching. It really was. I was just glad to see that they tendered Joey Lucchesi. I really like Joey Lucchesi, Joey Fuego. Uh, and again, I want to see him as a starter next year. I want to see him as a fifth starter. Get him out there. Let's see what he can do. And if he doesn't have it, fine, no big deal. Send him down to AAA, and then the next season he's on his way to somewhere else. So. The Locked On Mets, they should change their name to Locked On Yamamoto. So do you listen to Locked On Mets, Yuki Matsui? So I just discovered Locked On Mets a couple days ago. So the whole Locked On podcast and network, I just discovered like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I've been listening to a lot of the Locked On Raiders, Locked On Kings. They do daily shows, which keeps me current with a lot of the news and stuff like that. And so I just discovered the Locked On Mets. I'm like, well, if they have football and hockey, I'm sure they have baseball. And so then listen to that, and there was a lot of Yamamoto love on there, which is understandable. It seems like he could be the next big thing. And so there you go. So now we're connected that way also. But I'm pretty new to the Locked On Mets podcast. So. But I've listened to like 3 or 4 episodes so far, and there was a lot of Yamamoto talk, which is fine. Like I said, it's fine. There's been a lot of Yamamoto talk since last season. So we'll see what happens with Yamamoto. I'm really curious to see now that he's been posted after watching the Interstate Mets report. I know Nelson's kind of our boy Nelson, the Amish country Mets fan, is kind of losing his mind about rumors and Yamamoto in 1 day and 2 days, 3 days, whatever. He's starting to lose his mind, but now it's official that Yamamoto is posted and he can be signed by any major league team. And I think they have till January to do it, though. So you figure it's kind of happened pretty fast. Of course, he's been linked to the Mets. The Mets, from every report I've seen, are the favorite. But he's still got to pony up the dough. What's he going to be asking for? That's a big question. Years and of course, money. Is he going to be looking for $30 million a year? I think that's one of the things that Locked On Mets podcast mentioned. I think they mentioned 30 a year. That's a lot of money for a guy that hasn't pitched in Major League Baseball. Now you watch Kodai Senga, terrific season. Finished second, I think it was, in Rookie of the Year. I think top 10 in the Cy Young candidates. I think that's what it was. So terrific year, but he had a really super slow start. If you remember, a lot of adjustments, to the size of the ball and all that other stuff, and like the grip on the ball and stuff like that. So is Yamamoto going to go through the same growing pains as what Kodai Senga did? I'm sure he will. And so you're going to pay somebody $30 million and gets off that slow start. It could get a little bit rough early on. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. So like I said, the Mets are of course the favorite. I heard the Yankees, looking at them. There's another team I just heard today or yesterday was it wasn't Texas. Was it Texas? Phillies. I think it was the Phillies were looking at him as well. That's another team that's going to throw a buttload of cash at him. The Phillies just re-signed Aaron Nola. They tendered him. Were happy, and I seen some Philly fans were happy. Some were not so happy about it. I apologize about the internet here. It's we had a pretty decent rainstorm last night. It's still kind of overcast for a few hours yet. So the internet's going to be shoddy. I'm going to be blipping in and out. I don't freaking know. It's the story of my life, right? So I can't wait. I can't wait until Yamamoto's signed. So we can get on with our lives with the whole Yamamoto talk and get on to the next Japanese superstar like Yuki Matsui. Adam Glenn said he's coming to Philly. I don't know, Adam. The Phillies spend a lot of money. Like you hear, the Phillies fans, making fun of Mets. Oh, they spend all that money, and what did it get them? Blah blah blah. The Phillies spent a lot of money too, and not quite as what the Mets did last year. Nobody came, fairly close, but it's still a lot of, I think top five, maybe even top three payroll. So moving on, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the front office moves that the Mets have made recently. Kind of go through that boring stuff, boring but important. So as we all know, Mets hired Carlos Mendoza as the next manager of the Mets. I don't remember if he was hired during my last show or not. I don't remember. So I'm just going to mention it again. So he was the Yankees bench coach. Never was a major league manager before. So he's a rookie. So when you have a young manager like that, you want an experienced bench coach. That's second in command there. So when he gets his ass thrown out, usually the bench coach is the one that takes over. So the bench coach last season was Eric Chavez. He's not experienced. He was the first time as being a bench coach. There were some rumors that he might get an interview for the managerial. I'm not sure if he did or did not, but has no experience, as a manager. So now you have a rookie manager and a first-year bench coach. So the Mets bump Eric Chavez back down to being a hitting coach or co-hitting coach, whatever you want to talk, however you want to say it, with Jeremy Barnes, and try to get the whole approach, back to where it was from 2022. Our approach last year was so different. Is different end of the spectrum as to what it was in from 2022 to 2023. Just taking walks, making pitchers pitch to us in 2022, 2023, the total opposite. It felt, at least that's how it felt like. Could be wrong, but I don't know. So now Eric Chavez, it looks like a demoted back down to hitting coach with Jeremy Barnes. Where that leaves Eric Kinski, who was the assistant hitting coach, I don't know where that leaves Eric Kinski. I don't know. Cleaning up garbage, selling hot dogs, I don't know. I guess they'll figure that out sooner or later. So who's going to be the new the bench coach? There were some reports out there that Willie Randolph was strongly considered because Willie Randolph and Carlos Mendoza have a pretty strong relationship. Carlos, I think, mentioned Willie Randolph during his press conference after being introduced as Mets manager. But then I also did see that it was reported that Willie Randolph is not being considered. So who else is out there? That's experienced enough to help Carlos Mendoza kind of get his footing as a manager. Another name that came up was Phil Nevin, who was just fired by the Angels. Chicago Cubs skipper who was let go, and surprisingly let go. It was a bit of a shock. As Cubs played well down the stretch, they were in the wild card, then kind of stumbled at the end. They did have a pretty tough schedule at the end, so but that it is what it is. But my thought went right to David Ross. I don't think he's hired on anywhere yet, not that I've seen anyway. But then also Joe Madden. Would he want to be a bench coach? At his age, I don't know. It seemed like he wants to be a coach. He was interested in the Mets job, he said. So why not bring him in as bench coach and see where that goes? So those are a couple options right there I thought about. Between David Ross and Joe Madden, but Phil Nevin's the name that was floated out there now. I was really surprised to see Willie Randolph's name, out there. I thought that was pretty cool. Willie coached the Mets for a few years back in the mid 2000s, and I think he got fired in, I think it was 2008. I think it was 2006. We lost in Game 7 against I think it was the Cardinals in the NLCS, and then 2007 we blew that 7-game lead over the Phillies. I think it was. with 17 games left, we blew that 7-game lead. Oh, man, torture. And then I think in 2008, he was fired halfway through the season after a 500 starter or something like that. So it was I really liked Willie Randolph as a head coach. So after seeing that name, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I can see Willie, being back in the organization. But then they said he's not, being considered. So that is what it is. Adam says we spend money and win. That's the Phillies. What'd they win? World Series? Did they? Yeah, they didn't win anything. They won the NLCS. They could put a banner up saying, hey, we won the NLCS. All right. But you didn't win the big one. All that money. So Yuki Matsui says, I will throw my phone through the wall if the Mets do not get at least one player from the Ohtani, Yamamoto, or Soto sweepstakes. So with Soto, it would have to be a trade. Right? So I guess it's not really like I don't know if you can really call it a sweepstakes or not. For Soto, it'd have to be a trade. Do you wait on Soto for a season? And so that's the one thing that the Locked On Mets podcast brought up, and I feel like I talked about this before, where I say, with Ohtani, that's one player doing two different things, as a hitter and as a pitcher. Like, why not? I think you could probably – there's a chance that you can get a good pitcher and a good, player, fielder, hitter, for almost the same price or less than what you would have to pay Ohtani. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But that would be something if the Mets can get Yamamoto this year. And then, if Soto goes free agent the following year, maybe go make a run at Soto in 2025. And that would be kind of, that would be our Ohtani. Assuming that Yamamoto pans out. Soto doesn't quite have the power of Ohtani, but he has good power. He gets on base. He walks a lot. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the whole, goofy ass jerk off slide that he does in the batter's box after a ball or whatever. There's the pitcher. I'm not a big fan of that. But if he was wearing a Mets uniform and doing it, I'm sure I'd cheer for it. So, Eileen agrees with me. The Phillies won a participant trophy. The NLCS. Adam says we're not overrated. Oh. I mean, everybody was saying the Phillies are going to the World Series. Oh, the Phillies are going to the World Series. Team for it. They're going. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they didn't. They got beat by a wild card team. By the bottom, the worst wild card team. Rich says the Mets suck. All right. And good morning. Good morning, Rich. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. But yeah, the Phillies, they spend a lot of money, and I don't see their trophy case being filled up with World Series trophies. Just saying. So, and I have no problem with the Phillies spending money. I have zero problem. I want the Phillies to spend money. It's more exciting when the Phillies are spending money. It's more exciting when the Mets are spending money. It's more exciting when the Yankees are spending money. It's more exciting. It's more fun. Boston spending money, getting big names and stuff like that. It's more fun. But when you have, Philly fans coming at you after, you shit the bed, after you tried to put together a really good roster, you spend money to put together a really good roster, and then you get shit on by other fan bases about it that do almost the same exact thing, just a little bit lesser. And they're not winning anything either. They're just playing a little bit better. I mean, like shit, man. Congratulations. You made it to the World Series the year before. Okay. You didn't win it. I mean, Yeah, it was all fun. The bedlam at the bank. This past year was bedtime at the bank. It got real quiet. And I was just watching some videos on the old TikTok of Philly fans going ape shit. About going ape shit about Phillies. They suck. Rebuild this team. It's terrible. Blah blah blah. That's a pretty good team there. So it's just it's a whole thing they got going on there in Philly. Richie says Phillies need a right-handed bat and Yamamoto. Yamamoto is not going to Philadelphia. I guarantee you that. If there's an inkling that there's a chance that Yamamoto is going to go to Philly, Uncle Steve Cohen there is going to throw a whole lot of yen his way just so that doesn't happen. Alvarado can be our closer. I hope Kimbrel resigns, Rich. You'll get more of this. That guy. Phillies go in and out of slumps. They got cold at the wrong time compared to last year. Yeah, and you're right. I agree with that. They relied, I think, too much on the home run. And there's a lot of home runs, but a lot of solo home runs. And they went cold. They went cold at the plate pretty much, and that was it. Whereas as last year they hit it at the right time. I talked about this throughout the season, where your ebbs and flows throughout the season, like a roller coaster. You got your ups and your downs, your peaks and your valleys, and it's when you hit it. It's when you hit those peaks and you hit those valleys. If you hit those peaks at the right time, you could ride that to the end, to a World Series championship, before you hit that valley again, before you're on your downswing. So he also says he will take Trevor Bauer. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that cat, Trevor Bauer. That's if I'm thinking right, Trevor Bauer is the lad that was in some hot water with abusing women, but I guess it turned out it wasn't abuse. I think that's Trevor Bauer. And then so he was cleared, I think, of all the charges, but he was pretty much blackballed out of the major league. I guess he's suspended for so long. So he should be eligible to come back, I think, this season, perhaps. And, he was pitching in Japan and, pitching, it seemed like fairly well. But he's a strange fella. He's a strange cat. I'll tell you that one. But I'll tell you what, and I would take Trevor Bauer on my team as well, as long as he isn't a cancer in the locker room, which is, it's as us Mets fans kind of learned last year. We could see it from the outside. Is our locker not the same as the locker room the year before? Our locker room this year was just, heading out of May into June. Our locker room was turned, and you could point fingers all day as to what happened. One day we have Pete Alonso humping railings and stuff like that. Big Alvarez home runs, and then you have just high fives the next time. Because they got scolded because they celebrated too much, or Pete Alonso said the F word during an interview after a big hit, a big win. You gotta let them. Gotta let them be them. It's one thing as a Raider fan. I'm learning this now. Josh McDummy had the locker room all twisted up and buttoned up like a bunch of Goombas. I don't know. And now Coach AP Antonio Pierce has them. Them being them. Let them do their thing and see how it goes. And they've been playing a lot harder. They've been playing a lot better for AP than they did for Josh McDaniels. So we'll see what happens with the locker room this season with the new regime, new coach. But if it's easy, bring in one guy that can turn everything around again. You bring in a cancer and it just goes throughout the whole locker room. That's for any team. Any team. You don't know until it happens. But yeah, Trevor Bauer, he'd be a good arm to have. I've been hearing a lot of rumors about Tyler Glass now, trade rumors. So I don't know if the Tampa Bay Rays are actively trading him or if they're just, rumors, some guy behind the keyboard, like, oh, maybe we're going to go after Tyler Glass now. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Uh, who else? Brandon Woodruff was another name that came up a lot. I've been seeing online on the interwebs that the Brewers non-tendered Brandon Woodruff. He's going through shoulder surgery. Had a pretty good season 2 years ago. This past season was going pretty well until he got hurt. And then go through the shoulder surgery. So he's non-tendered. But David Stearns has, a history with him. So he knows what to expect. He knows what kind of guy he is, what kind of worker he is. So we'll see what happens there. If the Mets are able to pick up Brandon Woodruff and he comes back the same pitcher as he was before, that's a big if. If he comes back the same pitcher as he was before, that could be huge for the Mets or any team that picks him up. So back to the front office stuff. The Mets, like I said, named Eric Chavez co-hitting coach. I don't know what that means for Eric Hinsky. The Mets also signed a couple guys in the front office. They signed Andy Green. He used to be a bench coach for the Cubs. And they signed him as a senior role for player development. And he was head coach of the Padres as well. I think he interviewed for the Mets. The article said, but he was the Padres coach from 2016 to 2019. They also hired Chris Gross to VP of Amateur Scouting, which is basically what he was doing in Houston. He was with the Astros for like 13 years. Did a lot of their scouting stuff, and we all know a lot of their homegrown players there were just phenomenal, and the Astros, cheating or not, are a top-notch ball club. So getting somebody like that from there could be pretty could prove to be pretty good, pretty big. We'll see what he can do with our farm system, and which is trending in the right direction, and go from there. See, this is more like for building for the future, to more of like a sustainability kind of thing. Whereas in the past, when the Wilpons were running the thing, every season we just sold off whatever little prospects we had. They would sell them off and try to pick up the next big thing, and the next big thing, that was the big thing 10 years ago. So. So that's what I have pretty much for Mets talk. I have a top 10 list. Keep commenting. Any questions, anything you want to talk about, just throw them out there. We'll hit on it. I can't tell you when I know what I'm talking about, but I could bullshit my way through a bullshitting contest. I don't know how that phrase ends, but I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads. Yada, sponsor reads. There we go. Dead air. Big Al. We're going to start off with Big Al there. Jason Fine. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. They have 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We'll start off in New Jersey at Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. Then in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. Then in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The office is located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120, and the phone number is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Then we'll head on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Go on to monkeycoltcoffee.com, get yourself some bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, or the Sumatran blend, medium roast coffee, fantastic coffees, all 3 of them. The newest blend is the organic blend Perula, Florida. That's part of their global gourmet collection. I have not tried it yet. I say this every show. Haven't tried it yet. Can't wait to try it. I still have a decent amount of coffee left. I bought a couple bags, probably about a month. The doctor said I need to cut back on caffeine a little bit, so I've been cutting back a little bit. So get yourself some coffee and head on over to the swag shop. Get yourself a T-shirt with their logo on it. That's Roderick, their mascot, the coffee drinking monkey. You know, who doesn't want to see a coffee drinking monkey? I'd like to see a coffee drinking monkey. They got mugs, fantastic mugs, tumblers. I have both of them. The cold brew pitcher is pretty cool as well. I have that K-cup adapter, and don't forget your Paradise rum cake. Good stuff there. I've tried the Paradise rum cake; it's very good. Highly recommend it. So at checkout, be sure to enter the promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. The promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off of your order at monkeycoltcoffee.com. There we go. So all you coffee lovers out there, get your asses on there. Go to monkeycoltcoffee.com. You're not going to be sorry. The flavored coffee is fantastic. And the Sumatran blend, for you folks out there who don't like the flavored coffee, the Sumatran blend is terrific as well. They have whole bean and ground. So I got the ground. I think it's fantastic. I like regular coffee. I also like the flavored stuff. So I got the Sumatran blend, and I still use the flavored creamer in it because that's how I am. I like me some flavor. Got a couple comments here before I hit the old top 10 list. The curse is lifted. Lindor finally, yes, that's something else I want to talk about. Finally, the curse is lifted. Lindor finally bought Jeff McNeil his car. So for those that don't know, back in 2022, Lindor made a bet or deal, whatever you want to say, that if Jeff McNeil wins the batting title in 2022, he would buy him a car. And so, as we all know, Jeff McNeil won the batting title in 2022, and he didn't get his car in 2022 or 2023 season during the season. Yeah, I mean, it's still 2023. And so a lot of the Mets fan base were pointing at that as being the reason why, Jeff McNeil was hitting 240, 230, for most of the season before, heating up and, end up finishing the season pretty decent. A pretty nice car. Jeff McNeil could buy his own car, but Lindor was true to his word. It just took a little bit longer. Maybe he was just waiting for the right one to pop up. So you get Jeff McNeil the right car. You don't want to jump into it and you get him some sort of like a Chevy Corsica, from like 1992 or something. I don't know, or like a Pontiac Bonneville or something, or some sort of hatchback. You want to get him a nice car, so he waited. So next comment from Yuki Matsui. You must pick one for Mets DH. Teoscar Hernandez, Jorge Soler, Rhys Hoskins, J.D. Martinez. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going Rhys Hoskins. I really like Rhys Hoskins, and he can play the field. Plays a decent first base. I'd like to see Rhys Hoskins as a Met. One, to stick it to the Phillies, and two, to see him and Pete rotate first base. Give Pete a break. Let Pete, DH. Let Rhys out in the field, and let Rhys DH a little bit. Let Pete in the field. I know Pete wants to be in the field every day, but it's Pete's an okay fielder. I think Pete's better than what he gets credit for. He does make some terrific plays. He does make some bonehead plays as well. So sometimes the more he's off the field might be better for the team. I don't know. But yeah, I would go Rhys Hoskins. He packs a decent punch with his bat. He's always had some power. Average is all right. Really, really good production. The only problem is now coming off of ACL surgery. It might take a little bit of time for him to get his footing. It's not like a football player, but still, the whole, there's a lot of torque, for your waist down. with baseball swinging. So we'll see how he does it, how he deals with that, how it affects his swing, how it changes his approach and stuff like that. He'll figure it out. We got another comment here from our boy Paul Spencer. Real quick, Yuki Matsui, who are you taking? Are you taking Teoscar Hernandez, Jorge Soler, Reese Hoskins, or JD Martinez? Tell me who you pick. And anybody else watching, if you want to pick somebody out of there for DH for your team, who are you taking? Paul Spencer says, "What's up, buddy? One step away from state champ." Am I back? Oh boy. I don't know if anybody's watching anymore or not. But anyway, I'm going to finish the show up anyway. It appears that I'm live. I don't know I lost internet. I apologize. I mean, it was gone. I had to shut her down and restart it. I had to do a whole lot of crap. Then I put in the wrong goddamn password. That I only had like 2 minutes left of the show. I only had like 2 minutes left just to get through it. So let me hit this real quick. Yaki Matsui says Soler because we need outfield help. I think that depends on a little bit on what Starling Marte, what he looks like when coming back. Like we did re-sign DJ Stewart. Now he's not a complete fix, but he is a little bit of depth there in the outfield. Then, and we do have some guys in some young, so like the kids that they can play a little bit of outfield as well as infield. As Vientos, a little bit of outfield. I think Beatty played a little bit of outfield. I know Ronnie Mauricio. I don't know if he actually. I think he did train a little bit in the outfield down in AAA. I could be wrong about that. But I get it. But the outfield depth, the outfield help, absolutely. I understand that. Yuki Matsui's buffering. Yeah, I apologize. I felt like we had a pretty good conversation going there too. That sucks. So I'm sorry. Beefer, the Hobbit. Beefer, the Hobbit. Kenny, you're back. Yes, I'm back. Again, I'm sorry. I apologize. It sucks ass. But it is what it is. We're at the mercy of Wi-Fi's and internets and all that other crap. So let me finish the show off here real quick and go pout somewhere in a corner about what just happened. Oh Lord. So it's a bummer. I want people to see this top 10 list. That sucks ass. Hey, there he goes. Yuki Matsui. Welcome back. Yes, thank you. Thanks for coming back. Yeah. Yuki Matsui, thank you for returning to the show. Yes, top 10 time. So this month is peanut butter, World Peanut Butter Month, I guess, or something like that. So I did a top 10 list of my favorite peanut butter treats. I guess you want to call it whatever you want to call it, treats or not. So any thoughts on your favorite peanut butter treat? Throw them out there in the comments. I'll put them up there. So for me, number 10 in my top 10 list is peanut butter and apple butter sandwiches. So if you're not familiar with apple butter is, it's basically almost like an applesauce, a little bit smoother. It's made a little bit differently than what applesauce is, but I love apple butter. So peanut butter and apple butter sandwiches, I think are fantastic. Number 9, straight up crunchy peanut butter. I can eat that by a spoonful, just all the nuts and stuff like that in it. So I really enjoy that. Number 8, peanut butter and Ritz crackers. Nothing says a treat like getting some a sleeve of Ritz crackers and throwing some peanut butter on it, just downing them. Like watching my daughter play softball. I'll have a sleeve of crackers and throw some peanut butter on it, and all day. Number 7, peanut butter cookies. Now that's a whole bunch of different varieties. Any kind of peanut butter cookie, like Oreos, they have the peanut butter pie cookies, fantastic. During Christmas time, you get the peanut butter cookies where grandma gets the fork and does a little fork X on there. You throw like a Hershey Kiss in the middle, awesome. And also there's the Nutter Butter cookies. It's shaped like a peanut, has the peanut butter icing in the middle. Again, any one of those, you can't go wrong. Number 6, peanut butter pie. For the love of Christ, peanut butter pie is awesome. All that peanut butter goodness, then some chocolate and stuff like that. You can throw all sorts of crap in that. Chocolate chips if you wanted to. But yeah, peanut butter pie is fantastic. Number 5, one of my favorites, one of my dad's favorites. For as long as I can remember, chocolate cake with peanut butter icing. Awesome. Especially if you get that cake nice and moist, and that peanut butter icing isn't too sweet, but it's still nice and smooth and creamy. Awesome. Reese's, anything Reese's. I like. We have Yuki Matsui commenting here. ET phone home, Reese's Pieces. Anything Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, Reese's Pieces, Reese's Take Fives, Reese's Sticks, Reese's, I think they're called Reese's Crunchy. Anything Reese's. You can't go wrong. Now, there's a whole bunch of different variety of peanut butter cups now. You have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with the Reese's Puff cereal in it. You have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup with pretzels in it. You have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups with chips in it. I wasn't a huge fan of that, but you can't go wrong with any of those. Number 3, peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, that's right. Peanut butter and jelly is not number 1 in my book, but number 3. And I'm kind of fond of strawberry jelly. I like I guess it's strawberry preserves where they have the chunks of strawberries in it. That's what I like. But any kind of jelly, blackberry jelly, grape is probably my least favorite of the normal jellies. But then once you get into the crazy jellies like apple jelly and stuff, I'm not into that. But number 3 is peanut butter and jelly. Number 2, peanut butter and banana sandwiches. I love that. Or even just peanut butter and bananas. I used to slice a banana in half and throw some peanut butter in the middle and eat that like a sandwich. I really like doing that. Before I get to number 1, Yuki Matsui says pad thai noodles uses peanut butter. Yeah, I've tried peanut butter chicken at a local Chinese restaurant, and it was all right. I didn't know what I expected, but it pretty much was what it was. It tasted, peanut butter and chicken. So I don't know what I expected. It was okay. But yeah, I know that like Chinese food uses peanut butter in a couple different recipes. Yuki says Elvis's favorite peanut butter banana. He had peanut butter banana and something else fried sandwiches. So he'd fry them up. I never did that before, but I would like to try actually fry a peanut butter banana sandwich because it sounds pretty good. But I love peanut butter banana sandwiches. I've been making those since I was a little kid. Then, of course, number 1, in my opinion, is the peanut butter and marshmallow sandwich. The old fluffer nutter. Sounds like something out of an X-rated movie, but it's not. It's delicious. It's gooey. The only thing I don't like is sometimes I eat the marshmallow and it gets in my beard, and I got a string of marshmallow in my beard I don't know about, and the kids are laughing at me. The dogs are trying to lick me, and I don't know why. We got Paul Spencer checking in here. Paul says, what's your favorite Thanksgiving Day movie? We always watch Charlie Brown every year. Then we run out to buy. Daddy is getting, we go out to Best Buy. Daddy is getting an 85-inch TV. Hopefully, cross your fingers. That's a big ass TV. So Thanksgiving Day movie. Man, I don't even know. Of course, Charlie Brown we watch every year. But I can't even think of like a traditional Thanksgiving Day movie off the top of my head. Because usually it's just football on Thanksgiving. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, of course, Charlie Brown, but let's see what you got. Yuki Matsui says, my favorite Thanksgiving Day movie is the 10-hour version of The Godfather. Holy Christ, that's a long movie. Is The Godfather? I never seen it. So I never seen The Godfather, so I can't really say what it is or what it isn't. That's kind of, I know that might shock some people. If there is somebody out there that has not seen The Godfather 1 or Godfather 2. But one day I will. Hey, what's up, Cowboy Dave? A little late to the show. You missed all the hullabaloo going on earlier where I lost signal and I was offline here for a couple of minutes. It's completely frustrating, kind of threw a wrench into my whole show here, but still, we had still some people, sticking it out here. I appreciate it very much. So like I said, number 1 was the old fluffer nutter. And that's what I got for the top 10 list this week. I'll be back on in 2 weeks with the Bat Cave. I'll be on this Friday with 10 a.m. with the silver and black layer, and hopefully the internet's fine. Like I said, it was a little bit overcast. There was a storm a band of storms that went through last night. So it's still pretty overcast. It's supposed to be out of here by I think 2 or 3. The weatherman said it should be clear then, but that doesn't help me right now. That just it just bones me is what it does. Got a comment from Out of the Box Sports. Says happy Thanksgiving to all of our viewers. We wish all of you a very blessed day to you and your families. Yeah, absolutely. Thanksgiving tomorrow. And one of the things I want to put out there real quick, just enjoy it. You don't know how long you got. You just don't know. When your time's up, your time is up. So enjoy every moment that you have. Make the best of it. If there's something that pisses you off, just shrug it off. Just let it go. Any kind of like a grudges that you might have with a family member or something like that. It's trivial. It really is. So just, make amends, be the bigger person, just let it go, shake hands, and, you'll be the better person for it. Like I said, you only have so long on this earth. When you're gone, you're gone. That's it. Lights out, lights are out. So make the best of it. Be thankful for what you have. And, be giving to others. Just basically don't be a dick, be a good person. Dave Yarnell says save the showstopper for last. There we go. You're not last. You got Yuki Matsui. I hope the Mets sign Ohtani in 2 weeks. It's going to be interesting. You hear a lot about the Dodgers and Ohtani. I just saw a report, which again, this time of year, all sorts of crazy stuff is said. What's true? What's not true? It's just smoke. You can't tell. But the Dodgers, it was a report that the Dodgers were going to sign Ohtani and then put a package together and trade for Trout. That would be that'd be a hell of a splash. I'll tell you that. I mean, even though Ohtani would be out for a good portion of 2024, even before he could start hitting, I think he'd be out for a good bit in 2024. But that'd be a hell of a splash by the Dodgers. It really would be. I'd be curious to see what they'd have to give up to make a move like that. But yeah, so yeah, if the Mets don't get Yamamoto, they have to go Ohtani. They have to, it's about 2025, 2024, 2025. That's something that Epler and Steve Cohen talked about. That it's about building long term. They're going to be competitive in 2024. But it's also looking ahead to 2025. So if you do go for Ohtani and you're looking at him as a pitcher, you're looking at 2025, but you do get him in 2024 as a hitter, potentially, at least half the season anyway. So we'll see what happens. Any team that signs him, you have to look at it. You're not going to get him pitching this year. So you look at his bat maybe half a season. If you're lucky, who knows what he's going to look like coming back from that halfway through the season. Is it going to take him another month before he's the Matsui that we all know and love? We'll see. Is he going to be the Ohtani, just a normal person? He's going to be that magical unicorn that everybody loves, that hits the ball 155 mile an hour off the bat. That's the thing about injuries, and that's one of the things I said about him. So that makes him so scary to sign is injury. This is his second Tommy John surgery. His injury history. If he gets hurt, then you lose. Not only a pitcher, but you also lose a hitter. A position player. Even though he'd probably play mostly DH. But that's this time of the year. You gotta wait and see. It's kind of once the ball starts rolling, once like a big name drops and another one drops and another one drops. There's usually like a 2-week window where it's just balls to the wall, people getting signed. A lot of fun. All right, so that's all I got. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. And probably drop kick my internet, but we'll see what happens. I probably can't drop kick anything. I don't know. We're going to find out. I'll tell you that right now. All right. Thanks for checking the show out. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I will see you guys in 2 weeks with the Bat Cave. Like I said, this Friday, 10 a.m., Silver and Black Lair talking Raiders and LA Kings hockey, Pigskin the Puck. And then 11 p.m., the Atomic Drop podcast. We'll be talking all Survivor Series. myself and Keep It Real podcast, while the ladies from Keep It Real, their new show kicks off on the 27th of this month of November, 7:15 p.m. on Monday. So be sure to check them out as well. We'll talk more about that on the Atomic Drop podcast. Thanks for checking the show out, everybody, and see you guys later. Let's go, Mets.